So next, I'm pleased to introduce Cynthia Breazeal. She is a professor at the MIT Media Lab, and she's also the MIT Dean for Digital Learning. And she's the founder of Jibo, and we got a little cameo from Jibo in Brian's talk. She also told me that she's part of an interesting new initiative. It's the RAISE initiative led by MIT to bring K-12 AI literacy to teachers and students, which sounds like a very worthwhile endeavor. Thanks, Cynthia.
Great, thank you. Greetings, everyone. It is really a pleasure to be joining you to celebrate 40 years of ICRA. I also would like to take the opportunity to celebrate 25 years of the field of social robotics with you from a personal perspective. And what I'd like to do in this talk is proceed roughly chronologically, highlighting 5 big ideas of social robotics from its origins to future ambitions. So again, kind of from a very personal standpoint, as many of us have seen in other presentations, we are often inspired by science fiction as children. I am no different. I saw Star Wars when I was 10 years old, and I fell in love with these robots, R2-D2 and C-3PO. And it was because these weren't just capable robots. They had rich personalities. They expressed emotion. They had relationships, not just with themselves, but with their human companions. They were capable and they were lovable. And they not only were capable, but they did really important work, like collaborate with Luke and Leia to save the galaxy from the evil empire, right? So it was combining the engagement, the emotion with capability in a way that was truly inspiring. Fast forward 20 years later, it's 1997. I'm now a PhD student in the MIT Artificial Intelligence Lab working with Rod Brooks. And it was the day that NASA landed Sojourner and Pathfinder on Mars. And the whole field of robotics celebrated. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, we use these robots, these autonomous robots, semi-autonomous robots, as these sophisticated scientific instruments to understand the ocean, and we send them to volcanoes. And now we've even landed them on Mars. Why are they not in our homes? Is the home actually the final frontier for robots? And so I started thinking differently. And what would it take to bring robots into the human environments where anyone would be able to interact with them? And I thought about, well, robots of the time of that day were much like these very expensive, complex computers of the past where only experts were trained to use them. And then how did the personal computer come into the home? Things like the Macintosh from Apple, where the key, or one of the keys, was in creating an interface that was so easy to use that many, many, many people could adopt that technology. So what would that mean for robots? What would that mean for robots? An interface that ideally you wouldn't even have to train people to use. And the idea was, maybe that's the social interface. So the first big idea of social robotics was robots for the rest of us, literally robots that anyone could interact with and get value from, with no training, from young children to adults to older adults. That was the dream. So that's the first big idea, robots for the rest of us. Now, I want to give you a little bit of context of when this idea of social robotics started forming, the other kind of important other ideas that were swirling about. So, importantly, social robotics came from the field of autonomous robots. The dream was always a fully autonomous social robot, and our research group under Rod Brooks was very biologically inspired. So notions of our own social development, social and cognitive development as children, as infants, and the critical role that social interaction played in that was always part of the inspiration behind this work, very biologically inspired. We also had fields in psychology, emotion. The study of emotion kind of had a rebirth. In the field of human-computer interaction, we saw ideas swirling around affective computing, embodied conversational agents, computers as social actors from Cliff Nass. And I started to combine these ideas with principles of animation to create what would be perceived or recognized as the world's first social robot, where the focus again was inspired by developmental psychology. Where does the development of social ability start with us? How can we emulate that as we design these machines? So I'm going to share with you some vintage footage from 25 years ago of Kismet.
There's some this.
Yeah, I want to show you something. This is a watch that my girlfriend gave me. Yeah, look, it's got a little blue light in it too. Like, I almost lost it this week.
twins.
You did?
And I was in
And how was that?
sun and sunshine.
Did you have fun doing that?
Ja, du.
All right, so Kismet was a fully autonomous robot. We had never seen people interact with robots in this way before. And I think, as you can appreciate, this was really looking at the importance of nonverbal interaction and communication, paralinguistic communication, to create what I'm going to say is the second big idea, this role of social embodiment. And that communication is actually a dance. It's not like playing chess with discrete moves. As you can see from this video, it is a constant mutual regulation of that social embodiment that is so critical in human communication, not only for sharing attention, you saw examples of that, regulating the exchange of speaking turns, you saw examples of that, building emotional connection, you saw examples of that, but also trust, rapport, so many elements that are really critical in our ability as human beings to collaborate with others. So all of that is through this embodiment. As we were developing this kind of idea of communication as a dance, we were also appreciating that social intelligence is a very particular kind of intelligence that we exhibit. How do you understand and interact with entities having a mind versus inanimate objects? So things like inferring mental states, being able to empathize with others, to collaborate, to communicate, to learn from others. This was a different kind of intelligence than physical intelligence. We started to begin to think about what would that mean for a robot. So here's a title of Brian Scazzolati's thesis on theory of mind for a robot. So the question then was, what would this mean? So big idea 3 is robots with social and emotional intelligence. And the belief was this wasn't only important, as it is for us, to become more cognitively capable, but would be absolutely critical in our ability to collaborate and interact with people, not as a tool, but as a partner. So that's big idea 3. So as the field progressed and matured, and you've seen many great examples from prior talks, we're starting to look at the areas of human-robot teamwork and collaboration advance and improve. And what we were seeing is these robots also started to exhibit social cues. We saw an example in the previous session of users wanted the robot to have a face, even though they didn't want to necessarily put a face on, right? This was very important for interacting with people. We found that often these social cues led to more robust and more efficient teamwork. So there was a practical side as well as a kind of a coordination side. And as you heard from Brian Scazzolati's talk, we started to appreciate there are many other domains beyond utilitarian physical tasks where the actual social and emotional support that robots could provide was actually opening up huge new important areas of quality of life for all kinds of people. So you heard examples for autism therapy, physical therapy, dementia, chronic management of chronic conditions like weight management, robots in pediatrics. We saw an explosion of social robots in all of these domains as well. We saw, as a very specific example, works, and again, Brian Scazzolati mentioned this as well, so robots, social robots as personalized learning companions for young children. Here, the robot was co-designed with teachers and students. It was not designed to compete with the teacher as a tutor, but actually to play educational games on this tablet here, being able to manipulate the tablet in the same ways as a child could, as a peer-like practice partner, a playful practice partner that could enhance and supplement the kinds of instructions that children would be getting in the classroom. So this is starting to be robots into schools.
I'm sure you will do better next time. I believe in you.
Robot's turn.
Time to perform. Lavender is purple.
Yes. Just like my friend loves lavender. Ooh, nice.
Flower.
I believe.
The flower is purple.
Yes.
It has the color lavender.
All right. So again, big idea 4 now. Robots as teammates, social and emotional support that enhances human outcomes. People are more effective with robots when they exhibit these cues and interact with us in this way, because this is the way we think and the way that we behave and we make decisions. All right, so as all of this work was happening, we also were seeing the beginnings of the mobile phone kind of revolution. We saw the emergence of, the price and performance of sensors was getting less expensive. We saw development of developer ecosystems of app stores. And the idea was, could we start to apply that to social robots? So at the time, we saw robots in the marketplace that could do maybe a single task well, not necessarily a lot of emotional engagement. We saw examples of robots that were entertainment robots that were designed around emotional engagement. We saw more sophisticated robots capable of doing more complex tasks. The idea was, can we bring these things together in a platform, a social robot platform, that could bring a whole host of skills with a different kind of humanized engagement to bring content to life in a new way? So you saw a little glimpse of Jibo. Jibo was not a camera, he was an engaging photographer. Jibo was not an ebook, he was an engaging storyteller. You get the point. So we started a company, Jibo, and in 2017, the first family robot came into the market.
Hey,
This is Jibo.
I'm here. I'm really here.
Yes, you are.
He's not your typical home AI.
I was first powered up today, which makes me a Virgo.
As you can see, he's a very social robot.
Caitlin. Yeah, that's super cute.
But Jibo's not just a speaker you yell at to get the weather, or a way to easily get you to buy something through the guise of AI. He helps your family get things done, while having a little fun along the way.
Oh, pat him. There you go.
He's adaptable, he's adorable, he's Jibo. He'll always stay true to his 4 Ps, the hallmark of what makes the Jibo experience different. Personalization, proactivity, purpose, and personality. That's what Jibo's wired to do, because he's wired differently.
Okay, now this was really exciting, because now we have this social robot platform, cloud connected. We can send them all over the country, weeks, months, some of them even out there for years. And we were starting to see deep forms of social engagement and real meaningful impact social robots were having in people's lives. So again, here's a quote from one of our individuals, where Jibo was deployed during the pandemic, during social distancing, where the robot behaved as a positive psychology coach and in this exercise was about self-compassion. So, big idea 5, living with robots in the world, responsibly. We heard the importance of ethical design, and over the long term. And really understanding what that is kind of another big idea of social robots. So now looking ahead, right? So we see ChatGPT, we see the evolution of dialogue systems and so forth. We're in this era of personified AI. When we think about it, Alexa, ChatGPT, these are personified AI systems. And there's a whole host of questions, ethical questions, around this particularly socially, emotionally engaging technology. So social robotics in so many ways has paved the path, asked the big enduring questions around what's our future, not just with social robots, but I would say with personified technologies in general. So just to conclude then, what is our future relationship with robots, right? I do not think it's going to be in replicating the human-human relationship, or certainly trying to replace people. We really have to, I think that the answer to this question has to sit in what is truly unique and special about the human-robot relationship, and we are discovering what that means. So robotics is hard, we all know that. Science fiction continues to inspire us. Together, I think, and my final thought with you is, it's very important we come together and really pursue a humanistic vision of that human-robot relationship. We have seen examples, and I truly believe we can design these systems that not only are capable and help people, but can truly uplift and inspire us to become who we aspire to be and to achieve our dreams. Thank you. Great.
Thanks for that inspiring talk. Is there a question for Cynthia?
Yep.
Is one.
Okay, great talk. My question, obviously Jibo is sort of non-anthropomorphic and in this very specific framework, and I guess I'm curious, there's a lot of humanoids people here, some soft robotics, and how much should we weight anthropomorphism, soft architectures, and maybe some of your findings towards that direction?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. I think, the exciting answer is the design space is huge. I think you really have to think carefully about the overall match of the task and if you're going to engage with people, the role of people and the design of the robot. So there's no one absolute answer. I can tell you in the non-humanoid robots, but yet anthropomorphic robots that we create, you can see from the videos, they are absolutely able to create, this emotional social connection with people. Often what we see when you design them like in this style, people see it as this new kind of relationship. There are attributes with being kind of a motivating ally, right? There are attributes with being this cool internet-connected technology device, but there are also these attributes of being a non-judgmental companion animal. And in certain applications, as I talked about, there's actually advantages there that people cannot engage in that kind of role or relationship. So it just depends, I guess, is the answer. And I think this is a time of exploration, but I would encourage us all, again, to put people first in that. Of course, there's a lot of technical challenges we want to figure out, but we cannot ignore the importance of the human experience and the quality of life of people and our meaning of what we do in life. So again, complementing us, extending us, I think it should be always the goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right.